Shalom, everybody. Shalom, shalom. Rabbi Akiva here from Vegan Rabbi. Hope you're doing well. And I'm really excited to share this webinar with our Jew-Veg dating community. Now, there might be some of you out there who are not part of the Jew-Veg dating community, but are seeing this webinar anyway. The teachings that I'm going to share are really for everyone and anyone. But I specifically had in mind the Jew-Veg dating community, Jewish vegans and vegetarians who are singles and looking for their life partner when I created this, when I built this webinar. But I think it's advice really for all of us as we begin this new year. Right? We just had Rosh Hashanah a few days ago. We're in the first week of the new year. Yom Kippur is literally in a couple of days. The rest of the Jewish holiday season. And this is the time. One of the things I love so much about the Chagim, about the Jewish holidays in general, but specifically this time of the year, is that we don't just jump into the new year. We don't have just one day of a new year and say Happy New Year, and then go to work the next day, or go back to what we're doing. Of course, many of us go back to work the next day, but we don't just jump right into the year. We have this season, literally a season of Jewish holidays, 3 weeks. The first 3 weeks of the year are dedicated to Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. And even though there are these days in between, really the energy around it is so much about preparation for the next holiday and really trying to connect to the holiday season in general. I live in Israel, and so it's common, if you talk to somebody, an individual, a company, want to try to start something new at this time of the year, or even in the last few weeks, even before Rosh Hashanah. The phrase that everyone says and the phrase that everyone knows, excuse me, is Achrei Chagim. Achrei Chagim, right after the holidays. Let's talk after the holidays. My mind just so focused on the holidays. Let's get through the holidays. Let's get really into the holidays. After the Chagim, we'll talk. All right, very common here in Israel. But in addition to the celebration of all of the different holidays, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, yes, Yom Kippur is a celebration. If you're wondering how, you can get in touch with me about that, and I could share some things about that. And of course, Sukkot, right? Which is the ultimate Jewish Chag of celebration and simcha, joy, and happiness. But in addition to that, this time of the year, as we start the new year, and this process already started last month with Elul, like the last month of last year, it's really a time of introspection. It's a time of looking at ourselves and thinking about, where have I been, where am I now, and where do I want to go, right? And thinking a lot about, who really I want to be, who I have become up until right now, right, which makes perfect sense that this is who I am right now with all my amazing and great parts and fantastic parts, and all the parts of me that are not yet amazing and fantastic. And where do I want to go from here, right? And if I have a vision of where I want to go or who I want to be, how do I get there? So I came up with 5 ways, right, to have the best year ever, okay? Now, I know there's lots of different great advice out there of how to become our best selves and how to make the best of our lives and how to have the best life ever. I'm offering these teachings to you as advice, right? As with any advice, take it, leave it, apply it, don't apply it, take pieces of it, leave out other parts. This is all for you. Nothing I say here is a mandatory. This is what you must do in order to have the best life ever or the best year ever. Right? These are teachings that resonate with me, that I've learned, that I connect to, and that I've brought into my life to the best of my ability and as much as I can, that I find really, really meaningful. And so I want to share these 5 things with you, okay? After watching the webinar, excuse me, I'm just getting over being sick. If you have any questions, thoughts, want to talk about anything, of course, feel free to get in touch with me. You can get in touch with me through my Vegan Rabbi website. That's akivagerst.com/Vegan Rabbi, or just Vegan Rabbi on Instagram, on Facebook. You can find me very easily. But if there's anything you want to talk more about, more in depth, feel free always to reach out. And in addition, I invite you to future webinars. I'm really hoping to do this now once a month to really share thoughts with our Jewish veg community and beyond. So really this is for you. So number one, in terms of the 5 ways to make this the best year ever, number one, and they're really in no particular order, maybe except for the last one, but this first one I think is essential, and that's believing in yourself. Now, I know it sounds so like, of course, like everyone says that. Let's just look at that though for a moment. Let's dissect it. Let's get into it. Let's try to understand, what does it mean to believe in myself, right? So believing in myself, right? So first of all, right, connecting into a Jewish ritual, right? We have the Jewish ritual. Maybe you do this, maybe you don't do this, maybe you know about this, maybe you don't. But one of the most beautiful things I think there is about Judaism is the very first thing that Judaism says we should do when we wake up. The very first thing. I'm not even out of my bed yet. I just open my eyes. Now, maybe it's like the 10th time I've opened my eyes because I fall back asleep. But I open up my eyes, and this time I know I'm starting my day. I'm going to get out of bed. And before I get out of bed, I say the words Modeh Ani. I give thanks. Modeh Ani lefanechem elechachai v'kayim, right? Is giving thanks to God for returning our souls to us after a night's sleep. And just the fact that the first word off my lips, right? First word off my lips is the language of thanking. Modeh, or modah for a woman, means thanking. Modeh Ani, I give thanks. That is tremendous. I'm starting off my day with gratitude, recognizing that there's something in my life to be thankful for. And that's a really big deal, because sometimes we don't feel that. We feel like everything's broken, nothing's working, everything's a big, as we say in Hebrew, balagan, a total mess. And the fact that we have this tradition to start off with, think of one thing that you can be thankful for. Right? What are you thankful for today? Even if it's one thing, wow, it's worth getting out of bed for. Right? But the main thing I want to focus on right now is the end piece of this phrase. Right? The last 2 words we say in before getting, out of bed, Rabba emunatecha. Right? We give thanks to God for restoring our soul, and then we say Rabba emunatecha. Great, abundant is your faith. Now, it's interesting. We almost never talk about God's faith. We always talk about our faith in God. Now, what does it mean that God has faith? Rabba emunatecha. Great is your faith in what? In who? And what we're saying is that, God, I know you have faith in me. And that's why you gave me back my soul, because you believe in me. And you believe that I'm here to do something good. I have something to contribute to the world, to a person. There's a reason why I'm alive in general, and there's a reason why I'm alive today, right? And taking that and extending from that, if God believes in me, how much more so should I believe in myself? Okay, how much more so should I believe in myself, right? And it's a really, really powerful statement that we make every single morning. The gratitude part, Modeh Ani, and God's faith in us part. Rabba emunatecha. I thank you, God. I really thank you for giving me back my soul, but also thank you for believing me. Because sometimes I don't believe in myself. And sometimes I feel I'm not sure how many other people out there believe in me, but you do? Wow. That's tremendous. That's all I need. Right? Now, there's something, a new amazing teaching I learned very recently, just this year, right before Rosh Hashanah, which I thought was tremendous, and has to do with this idea of God's faith in us. And the teaching is that on Rosh Hashanah, God basically takes the time, so to speak, whatever that means, to think about, whatever that means, to decide, again, whatever that means, whether or not it's worth continuing the world. All right. I think it's a fair question, right? The world is kind of upside down sometimes, and humans are not always on their best behavior, and we're not always doing the best things, both locally and globally. And there's this teaching that says that every single year, God comes to the table and says, is it worth continuing the world? And if the world continues, that's God's way of saying, yeah, I believe in the world. I believe that the world is worth continuing, even with all of its mess ups and mistakes and stains and errors and serious problems. The world is still worth continuing because I believe in the ultimate vision and mission of the world, right? And we're part of that, right? God believes that we're here to do something. And even if we're stumbling and fumbling along the way, God believes that we will get it right one day, both as individuals and us as a collective humanity. And again, it's this idea that if God believes in me, and us as a collective, our purpose for being here. Wow, that gives me tremendous strength to believe in myself, that I know that I'm here for a reason. And even if it's hard sometimes, right? It's part of the process for some reason, for whatever reason, even if I don't always understand why, right? But that I'm here to do something. I'm here to do work. I'm here to contribute in my own personal, unique way, right? And also, I'm a work in progress. I'm not perfect. Hey, I'm not perfect, right? Surprise, surprise. And that's okay. I don't need to be perfect, right? Yet. Hopefully one day we will, whether in this lifetime or another lifetime, okay? But really this idea of loving ourselves and supporting ourselves and being, being there for ourselves, not being so hard on ourselves. We can be so hard on ourselves, harder than anybody else in the world. Why? We wouldn't do that to a friend. We wouldn't do that to an acquaintance or a stranger, yet we do it to ourselves. Why? Give ourselves a break, right? Recognize we're a work in progress. Be nice to ourselves, at least as nice as we are to that, checkout person in the store who we're schmoozing with and we don't even know, and we'll probably never see again. Should be at least as nice to myself as I am to that person, right? Sometimes we can be way nicer to other people than we are to ourselves, and we should, of course, be nice to other people, right? But let's be nice to ourselves. Let's be honest. This world can be intense. This world can be really hard and challenging sometimes, right? And we should be nice to ourselves. At the very least, not be too hard on ourselves. And again, coming back to the initial teaching, believe in ourselves, that we're here to do something every single day that we wake up and live in this world and live our lives. And also in a bigger picture, we came here for a reason. According to the Jewish belief, every single one of us is here for a reason. Not only that, a unique reason that nobody else has ever come here before. Not only in this generation that we're alive in right now, but in any generation. Nobody has ever come into the world to do exactly and specifically what you and what I came here to do. Wow, that's tremendous chizuk, strength, motivation, and encouragement. And that's our tradition. Our tradition encourages us. Our tradition doesn't want us to be sad and mad and running out of steam. Oh my God, who am I? What have I done? What can I possibly do? I really believe in our kochot and our strength, that we are tremendous. There's this one rabbi's teachings who lives in Jerusalem. He's always saying that if we would only understand and realize the impact of some of our simplest actions in the world, wow, we would just be joyous our entire days to realize that. So let's start realizing that, and let's start believing in ourselves really in a powerful and strong way. Number 2, right, as a piece of advice to have the greatest year ever, okay, take time for yourself. Right? Let's take time for ourselves. We're so busy. We're such busy people, no matter what age you're at or what life situation you're in. This modern day world of ours, we're nonstop running from the second we get up to the second we go to sleep. Right? And the dings and the buzzes and the whistles and the notifications, it's nonstop. Right? And if we don't stop sometimes and slow down and pause, God forbid, who knows what's going to be, right? We have to take care of our mental health, our physical health, our emotional health, our spiritual health. Take time for ourselves, whatever that might be. And you might already be doing this in some kind of way, right? But maybe you can add even more. Now, I don't mean the joke in the self, what's the word? In the health and wellness world is that, people sometimes have such long self-care morning routines that they don't start working till like 12 noon, right? But maybe that's okay for some people. It doesn't have to take forever. It doesn't have to take hours. It could be 1 or 2 things in the morning, right, that you commit to. They say, I'm going to do this for 20 minutes, a meditation, a 20-minute meditation, just sitting there and breathing, closing your eyes and focusing on your breath, being in a quiet space just for yourself, 20 minutes. What that will do to yourself and to your day is unbelievable. Now, for some people, it might be yoga, it might be stretching, it might be exercise, it might be running, it might be working out. It might be sitting in silence. It might be focusing on your breath, all kinds of breath work out there these days, breathing techniques. Or it might be prayer. I know for myself, I've been praying regularly. I didn't grow up religious. I became religious when I was 22. I'm now 46. So for the past 24 years of my life, I've been praying every single day, 3 times a day. right? And I love prayer. But I noticed just a couple of years ago, it wasn't even a conscious thought, but it wasn't fulfilling everything that I wanted spiritually. And I started to bring new things in my life that I didn't even know about, not so long ago. Specifically for me, meditation and breathing. These are things that I brought into my life that have been tremendous. Eventually cold showers and then cold bath, ice bath, as we call it. Whatever it is, everyone has their different things that they connect to more. Find one or two or three, maybe throw in a third one on the weekends when you do have more time and you do want to spend more time. Maybe you're waking up early one day and you have time for that extra, whatever it might be. It's so essential though, really. It's so essential for our, again, mental and physical and emotional and spiritual well-being, especially in our world today. I feel like it's a must. I feel like if Judaism was being rewritten right now, it would say for sure you have to do something, for sure. Just like you have to, pray, just like you have to do this, you got to take care of yourself. You have to have something in your life that's constant, that you've decided upon, that you've committed to, that's for you and nobody else. Right? You don't have to tell people about it. You don't have to write a book about it. You don't have to do a video about it. You don't have to do a podcast about it. It's for you. It's your sacred time. It's your holy space and your holy time. And again, whatever it is going to give you that, okay, I took time for myself. Now I'm ready to give to others. Now I'm ready to do my work, whatever that might be, right? Whether it's computer programming or social work or whatever it is, but I'm doing my work with my full self, with my full heart to help whoever I can help today, right? So that's number 2, taking time for yourself. Number 3, okay? Now, some of you might be familiar with this and some of you might not. This is also something relatively new for me in my life. And it's noticing your thoughts, being aware of your thoughts. And as I've gone deeper into my learning of Judaism, specifically into the realm of Hasidic teachings, and Kabbalistic teachings, I notice that this appears. And it appears out there in the general world, but it also appears in our Jewish world, just like meditation does, and breathing, by the way. All these things can be found in Judaism. It's unbelievable. Right? Go deep enough and look in the right place, you will find Jewish sources and ancient traditions of the Jewish tradition that connect to all these different practices. So in terms of noticing your thoughts, what does that mean? All right, let's start with our beliefs. Well, let's start even with our actions. The basic understanding of this, right, is that our actions in this world are guided by our beliefs. What we believe leads to what kind of actions we do in this world. Okay, so our beliefs fuel our actions. But what fuels our beliefs are our thoughts, right? And the thoughts are usually thoughts that we have about a certain circumstance that inherently is neutral, right? But we just give value and meaning and judgment to it through our thoughts, right? So again, our actions are fueled by our beliefs are fueled by our thoughts. So if I'm doing a certain action and I stop, I'm like, why do I do that? Why do I avoid talking to that person? Why do I avoid that opportunity? If these things happen like lightning quick. So often we don't even realize there's a belief behind it. And even more so, we don't even take the time because nobody ever told us, right? But when we do stop and we do pause and we do have this belief that our beliefs do have that kind of tremendous power, what am I believing? Right? I'm believing that whatever, I'm not good enough. I'm avoiding that person because whatever it might be. I'm not taking that opportunity because I believe it's not going to work out in the end. Okay, what's the thought behind that belief? Why do I believe that it's not going to work out in the end? Right? And then trying to find the thought that is fueling that belief. Right? I'll give you a little, maybe even silly example, right? Trying to get the memory back. Hold on one second. Okay, hold on one second. The belief also, sorry, I'm using the word belief a lot, right? Which is fine, but also sometimes the word that people use is feeling. I have like a feeling, okay? So actually I'm gonna go with that word more right now. That our thoughts fuel feelings and our feelings fuel our actions, okay? Because also, again, I've been using the word beliefs, but beliefs and thoughts could actually be more intertwined than beliefs and feelings. So let's go with that, okay? Hope I didn't confuse anybody. Okay, but I'll just give you a quick little, maybe even again, funny, silly example. It was many, many months ago. I went to the synagogue on Friday night, and somebody asked me to lead davening, and right away I got nervous. Right away, my feeling was I got nervous. And again, the way our minds work, our brains work so quickly that we don't even realize that there's a thought there. But because I've been doing this kind of thought work for some time now, not even that long, I stopped myself. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling nervous. Right, like right away. The person asked me, I got nervous right away in my stomach. And so I asked myself, so what am I thinking? What's my thought behind that? What kind of thought do I have that led me to feeling nervous because this person asked me to lead davening? And so then I realized what the thought was, that I'm nervous that I'm going to make a mistake, or I'm going to mess up, or something's going to go wrong, and I'm going to be embarrassed, and it's not going to work out, and people are not going to have such a nice prayer experience because of me. I'm like, that's so interesting. Okay. And so I really sat down. Literally, I did this. I sat down. I'm like, okay, what's that? Okay, I hear that. I honor that. I'm here with that. What's another kind of thought that I can see myself believing around this circumstance? Again, what's the circumstance? Somebody asking me to lead prayer. And so I came up with this thought that said, I like prayer. I like even leading prayer sometimes. And I'm human, and I might make a mistake, and that's okay because I'm human. And it's not going to ruin anyone's experience, and no one's going to judge me. And that happens sometimes to a lot of people. And let's just, going back to that thought I shared before, let's be nice to myself. Right? Not so hard on myself. And so I changed the thought, I changed the feeling, and I felt completely different. I hope that makes sense. But again, just this idea of really noticing our thoughts and how they impact our feelings, and then how our feelings really impact our actions. Okay. And again, becoming more, it's really about becoming self-aware. What's happening up here in this little, muscle that is such a powerful muscle, that has such an influence in our lives. By the time we get into our 20s, 30s, and 40s and above, like so many things are just happening automatically without us even being consciously there or aware we're in control. But if the same thoughts, right, are surfacing in response to the same circumstances that are then fueling the same feelings, which are then fueling the same actions, which then, and that's the last step of this process, fuel the same results or lead to the same results, how are we ever going to change? If we say, yeah, it's a new year, I want to become a new me, or I want to bring out a new part of myself, or I want to explore, develop new parts of myself, how are we ever going to do that if our brains are working on autopilot, and we're not getting involved up there, and we're not consciously putting ourselves in there and saying, wait a minute, I see this circumstance, it's coming up again, it's come up for many years of my life, I'm having the same thoughts about it or beliefs that are leading to the same feelings, that are leading to the same actions, that are leading to the same results, and therefore I'm not seeing any change in my life, right? So then we have to kind of wedge ourselves in there and say, you know what, maybe there's a different thought. The circumstance I can't change. What happens out there in the world around me, I can't change, right? The person, I went out with 5 times didn't call me back or didn't want to continue, I can't change it, but what are going to be my thoughts about that? Now, I might have automatically gone to a certain kind of thought that then led to a certain feeling and leads to a certain action, which leads to a certain result. But maybe I can more consciously choose my thoughts, because really this is my brain. I get to choose what I think. I get to choose. We're often never told that, right? And when we discover that, it's such a power that we are giving back to ourselves, that habits and years of doing the same thing and years of reacting to the same circumstances in the same way, which have led me to have the same thoughts, feelings, and actions and results, it doesn't have to be that way anymore. Even if it's been 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, even more years that I've been doing that. Right now, right here and now, I can change that. Right? And I can really more consciously choose my thoughts and my beliefs and reactions to circumstances that are for sure out of my control, right? That will lead to a more productive life, a happier life, a less mentally strained life, right? So many amazing things for ourselves, right? So again, it's really knowing that I might not have the power. In fact, I don't have the power to change the circumstances, the things that happen in the world around me. Okay, but I do have the power to change my thoughts and my beliefs and my feelings and my actions and my results. And the results is like our life. It's like who we are. It's like what's happening to us. It's like what we're doing. It's like what we're accomplishing or not. It's what we're running towards or what we're running away from. It's what we're showing up to be or what we're hiding away from. And again, if we do that kind of, backwards process, we see so much how it originates in our thoughts and in our beliefs. Right? But again, people don't really talk about these things, and we're not taught these things. These are skills that we need to learn about and to develop and to become better at. And nowadays, a lot of people are talking about it, about this. You just have to find their podcast or their Instagram page or whatever, and follow them and just be reminded every single day, because it's so easy to forget, because we've been doing the opposite for so many years, if not decades, that it takes real patience, time, dedication, commitment, and work to really change the way that we live our lives. But we can. It's possible. And in the short time that I've been doing this kind of thought work, as we call it, I've noticed incredible changes and an ability. There are times where I realize I have the ability to change something within moments, something that I've been thinking or believing for years. I catch myself like, wow, only now I'm realizing that I'm always reacting to that circumstance in this kind of way, with this kind of thought or this kind of belief, which leads to this kind of feeling and so on. But no, I don't believe that thought anymore. I don't believe that belief anymore. I don't want to. I want to believe something else, and then I'll come up with the new thought or the new belief. And that changes literally everything, right? Literally everything, right? I think I talked about this enough. And there's a lot of people out there really going into great, amazing detail and sharing about this more and more. And I suggest and I encourage you to find somebody who does this. Next one, number 4, fill yourself up spiritually. Now, this is kind of like number 2, but I think a little bit different. All right. We are such physical beings with so many physical needs. It's so easy to forget that we have a soul and that we are primarily spiritual beings. Right? Maybe you've heard of that quote before. We are not, how do we say it? We're not physical beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. Right? In the heart of hearts, we are spiritual beings. According to Jewish tradition, we are soul. Our body is just the kli, it's the vessel, it's the tool that allows us to be in this physical world, in this physical realm, and live in this world where we can do all kinds of things that help us to become ourselves, improve ourselves, and improve the world, which is the ultimate work of life, according to Judaism. But our souls can't do without a body. So we have a body, and our bodies are wonderful, and they're amazing, and they're miracles. Right? And we should keep them healthy and well, and strong and fit. And that's a mitzvah too in Judaism. But we must fill ourselves up spiritually, or we'll forget about the spiritual. We will become spiritually numb, right? which for sure will have tremendous impacts on our life. Okay, so there's so many different things people can do to fill themselves up spiritually. Just a couple of suggestions, ideas: learning Torah, right? Specifically, finding out what kind of Torah do you like to learn, because Torah is so many things. Some people like the real, legalistic law kind of, books. Some people like the Gemara, the back and the forth, the discussions, the analyzing. Some people like the philosophy. Some people like the morals, we call Musar, right? Musar, right? Some people like the Chassidut, which is the deeper kind of esoteric spiritual teachings. And then some people like the Kabbalah, which is the real deep esoteric teachings of the Jewish tradition, right? And I think that there's something there for everybody in the realm of Torah. And forget religious, non-religious, it doesn't matter. The Torah belongs to all of the Jewish people. Right? And just highly encouraging people to find time, 5-10 minutes a day, to learn something. You can read an article online. There's so many Torah websites in all different languages these days, and it's so easy to access it. Books, podcasts, YouTube videos, tons everywhere, right? Another, reading books about spirituality that talk about spiritual ideas, spiritual growth, personal development. Okay, how to get in touch with our souls more, how to let our souls lead our lives more. And not the other way around, not letting our bodies lead our lives, but letting our souls lead our bodies. And of course, music and art and nature, hiking, spending time in nature, all these different things, whatever it is that we really connect to. I'm a musician. Music for me, is such a spiritual outlet. And I just sat down today at the piano. Something really intense happened in our greater community. And I was feeling really intense about it today. I sat down and I played piano for like 5-10 minutes, and it was so powerful for me and so helpful. Right. So many different things. So this is a short one, but just filling it yourself up spiritually, just like we need to fill up our cars or fill up our bodies with food, we need to fill up our souls, right? In order that we are healthy and whole. And the last one is, again, for everybody, but I think specifically more for people in the Jew veg dating community, people who are single and looking for their life partner, looking for their soulmate. And this one is visualizing the person you want to be with, all right, and the life and home you want to create. Now, for people who are already married or they're not looking for their life partner, this can just be a visualization of your life, your future, this upcoming year, the next year, 5 years, 10 years, whatever future you want to see happen, right? But specifically in terms of dating and people who are single and they're looking and they're yearning and they're wanting and they're praying for to meet their life partner and to get married and to establish a relationship together and a life together and a home together. I think this is really, really powerful and really, really helpful. Visualizing, actually sitting down, taking the time, closing your eyes and visualizing, right? The person you want to be with, right? And the life and home you want to create, down to the details. And this should have a writing component to it, like a journaling component. You write it down. What does this person look like? Now, of course, you might be off. And you shouldn't put yourself in a box. It can only be a person who's this high, this height with this color hair and likes this kind of activities, whatever. But just visualize. Who is the person you want to be with? What do they look like? What do they sound like? What does their laugh sound like? What do they like to do? What would it be like to sit down and have a meal with this person? What would you talk about? What would your house look like together? If you're going to have kids, how would you raise your kids together? What would their names be, maybe even? I don't know. Details. Again, writing them down, but also sitting and closing your eyes and visualizing this, right? Really manifesting, right? This person, right? Doing this every day for a few minutes a day, or at least a few times a week, right? And most importantly, so there's two parts, right? There's really focusing on the details of this person and who you see this person being. And again, it's okay, and probably will be not exactly the person that you're going to meet in the future, not perfectly that person, but at least you're getting out of your mind, out of your brain, who you want to be with, what kind of person you want to be with, and literally visualizing that person. Okay. And then when you have all those details down, then it comes to the feelings. Literally conjuring up the emotions, the feelings of what it would be like to be with this person right now. And literally being in your mind, right? Where you're seeing this person with all these details, and you're literally feeling what it's like to be with them as if it's already happening. Okay? Because again, maybe this is not a new idea to some of you, but maybe this is a new idea to some of you. To the brain doesn't know the difference between if something's actually happening out here in the world in reality, or you're just imagining it and visualizing it. If you're thinking about it and feeling the feelings of what it's like to actually happen, whether it's like win $1 million, get that dream job, go on that amazing vacation, or meet your soulmate, to your brain, from your brain's perspective, it's already happening. And that's a powerful thing, to already kind of train your brain, right, into what it's going to be like when it actually does happen. And the more we do that about anything that we want to see happen in our lives, but specifically with this, with finding a soulmate, there's something about it. Like you're already feeling the joy now, right? You're feeling the joy of being with that person. And your brain's like, wow, you found the person. That's amazing. Mazal tov. Your brain's already like at the wedding. Right? And it's hard to explain or describe, but there's something really powerful about that. There's something really powerful about experiencing the joy of finding the person you've been longing to meet, even before you meet that person. So when you do, it's almost like, yeah, I knew it. Maybe I didn't know exactly what the person was going to look like, but I knew how I was going to feel when I met the person. Because let's be honest, so often, right? And I know when I was looking for my wife, there were really hard moments. There was times that I was sad and down and out, and like, am I ever going to find her? Like doubting myself if I'm ever going to find her, disbelieving. Those are heavy emotions to walk around with. And when we walk around with those heavy emotions, like how much are we going to attract anybody, right, to be with us? Who's going to want to be with us, really? Walking around sad and mad and da-da-da. But if we're walking around, despite the fact that we haven't met or still haven't met the person that we're longing to meet, and we're still walking around with joy, with happiness and gladness and confidence in our lives, whoa, I mean, what better magnet, right, than that to attract the person we're longing to meet, right? So it's really like conjuring up these details, feeling these emotions, and all these can really help us bring that day that we're waiting for, longing for, and working towards so much more relief, right? And just like this line that I heard from one of my rabbis years ago, sadness doesn't attract the future we want. Joy does. Joy is the greatest tool of attraction. So my friends, that's what I want to share. I hope you're able to get something out of this and take something into your lives in order to help you make this the best year ever, the best year yet. And again, feel free to be in touch with me through Instagram, Facebook, Vegan Rabbi, through the Vegan Rabbi website, through email if you have it. I'll say my email is akivagersh@yahoo.com. My website is akivagersh.com/Vegan Rabbi, AKIVAGERSH. And I look forward to the next webinar. So look out, I'll be sending out emails and notices about the next webinar in about a month's time. And we'll continue the sharing and learning. And really, may we become more and more of our beautiful selves as a result, and really create the world, the life that we really, really want, and be the happiest that we can, and have the best life that we possibly can. So all the best, my friends. Shalom, and see you next time.